It's a Monday.
It is a
How
Monday.
are
We're
you, dear?
live. We were giggling coming on here because we had hit the button to go live and nothing happened. And we were started. We're sitting there like smiling, like any minute now, any minute now. Anyway, hi, everyone. Hi, Becky.
Hello, hello. Let me get Instagram rolling here. Like I said,
Yeah,
it is a Monday.
it is.
Yeah, I know. The technology is wonderful when it ends up and it works with me, right?
That's so funny. But it was funny. We were both sitting there kind of smiling, waiting for it to start. And it didn't start. We were
You
like,
know,
oh. Then we started giggling. So, anyway. Well, welcome to Instagram, Facebook, Twitch, Rumble, of course, YouTube. What am I forgetting? I always forget them.
all
You know I
all of
do.
our audio listeners on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Apple Podcasts.
Absolutely. And if you like what we're talking about and you like our guests, go ahead and leave a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. It helps with the algorithms. We don't have sponsors. So the more you like and comment, the higher the algorithms. It's always comes down to that, doesn't it? But
It,
anyway,
it does. Always playing the social media game, right?
that's
What do
right.
you do? But
Absolutely.
and also our topics tonight. If you were there, let us know. Comment, that you were there. So tonight we're going over Hack Your Health. It was an amazing event this year in Austin. Met so many great people, but we'll get into that further. Also the BNC Meetup, the first annual one. So why don't we kick it off with that?
Absolutely. I'm typing in Instagram here.
That's all right. So yeah, the first, for those that are maybe listening, just tuning in and don't know what the BNC meetup was about. The BNC is a community that was founded going beyond nutrition. So it's Beyond Nutrition Coaching Community, BNC community. And we speak to everything from circadian rhythms to sleep. We have breath work, mental health and addiction recovery, earthing, grounding, all of those type of things we cover in the Beyond Nutrition mental health mindset. My co-host does a supercharged meeting to focus on the mindset, but this is our first year where we are based online. We have Zoom community meetings multiple times a week. I think we have about 13 meetings per week that anyone can jump in, join, group setting. We also offer one-on-one coaching. So that's, within the community too, or accessible through the community. And this was our first year that we were able to do a meetup and actually meet these people that we've been talking to online. We did that Friday night of the Hack Your Health event. So we went to the conference all day. We met up. We had amazing grill going. We had pulled pork on the griddle. It was, one of our members had smoked some pulled pork, brought it. We reheated it on the griddle. Well, we had what I think I don't even know how many steaks. I mean that grill was huge and we had it rolling. So
Yeah, we did. We did. And then we had some sponsors.
we did have sponsors this year. Yep. So our friends at Carnivore Crisp gave us bags of the brisket. So if you haven't checked out the Carnivore Crisp, they're just meat and salt. They use Redmond's real salt, and it really makes it almost like a chip. Those were kind of lifesaver as I was at the conference and then also traveling. They fly
Yeah.
really well. I'm able to take them through TSA. And our other sponsor was Power Puck, or Power Fit
Yep.
Foods now. We had samples of the Power Pucks and the Super Chews. For those of you that don't know what the Power Puck is, it is simply, it's a fat base. So it's either tallow or cocoa butter. And then they have different protein flavor to it. So it's a grass-fed beef protein that is sourced, but they have anywhere from wafer cream and French vanilla, which are my favorite, to chocolate. I was to say those are my favorite. And then our friends at Echo Water let us use their hydrogen water pitcher. So we had hydrogen water. We've also done interviews with Dr. Paul. So if you're unfamiliar with what hydrogen water is and the different benefits that it can provide, anywhere from energy to gut health to boosting the immune system. So hydrogen water is simply just a small light molecule that is put into and kind of structures, but also provides health benefits that regular water can't. Like I said, boosting the immune system, 70 to 80% of our immune system is housed in the gut. So by consuming this water, it also helps to neutralize free radicals and the oxidative stress of the body, as well as, like I said, increasing the energy, stimulating the brain. I mean, the list could go on. Go check out Dr. Paul's interview that we did on YouTube, and you'll learn all about hydrogen water and why we get so passionate about it. But yes, those three, we do have discount codes, and we can put those in the notes of this, but we had those three as our sponsors. And then, like I said, we had all sorts of meat, from ribeyes to T-bones to sirloins to fillets to pulled pork. I mean, it was amazing.
It was. We had a good time. It was well attended, I thought. I'm trying to think how. In fact, we had such a good time. We forgot to take pictures. I took a video, and that's it. I don't think there's any other pictures or anything, is there?
I have one video of when we were kind of setting up and getting prepared. So for those that don't know, we had a huge table that had all of our grab bag. It had our BNC bag, and people were able to take these, sponsored gifts as part of their swag bag for coming to the meetup. And so we had that full table set up. We had an island and, all of it set up with the cooking and everything. The grills obviously were outside. We had a nice little lounge area that had a fire pit to it. I mean, it was quite the setup. And so I have a video of me panning the room of everyone just kind of socializing and having that social gathering before we ate and stuff. But no, as far as a group photo, we forgot to take one. We were so involved with, just being together and being present, being in the moment that, we missed out on our first annual photo. But
I think everybody was so excited to meet face to face, right? One of our members, she hugged me and she's like, "Oh, let's put our hearts together." And we hugged and we hugged. I mean, we stood there and hugged for a little bit, but it was neat because when we were talking to Dr. Paul of Echo, he apparently forgot who I was. And jokingly, I said, "Oh yeah, because we've had him on here twice." And I said, "Well, you only recognize me like that's it from here up." And he got it. I mean, so I think that's going to be the ongoing joke now is, "Oh, this is me. Like, this is it. I'm in a box." And I probably nobody realized how short I am in real life. I'm 5'2".
I think that is one of the biggest things, right? Is you get kind of this assumption that, people are relatively tall because you see, them setting up and they seem or appear like, they're tall, and then you meet some and they are a little bit shorter than what you thought, or they're taller than what you thought, right? So
Yeah.
it's
I was the short one of the group, and in fact, as we walked around, and we actually got to meet people that we follow on social media and the people that follow us as well, and taking pictures. And so there I am holding the camera, and finally Becky looked at it and she's like, "You have dinosaur arms. Like, why is the shortest person in the group trying to take a selfie with everyone in it?" So I think you've got like more pictures on your phone that you haven't sent me yet. Possibly, right? Yeah. But it was funny because, and then you see the pictures and it's like, oh my goodness, like I really am the shortest one.
Well, so, you have those of us that are 5'7" and above, right?
Yeah.
5'8", 5'9", somewhere in there. And so a lot of the pictures I'm like scrunched over. I'm all like scrunched up, trying to like hunch over, bend down so that, and not always the most, flattering photo, but I don't care, right? It was more about, again, meeting the people, right? I had an Instagram friend that we've known for years, and she messaged me because something come up in one of the presentations, right? There were so many presenters there. Something come up and she's like, "Are you here?" And I'm like, "Yeah, why?" But yeah, it was just very comical, or fun to be able to actually meet people that you speak to, you comment, you like, you follow, and it feels like you're part of their life. I mean, like I said, in the community, we have so many meetings per week. I mean, I have one of my coaching clients, which happens to also be a community member. I mean, I could probably tell you, her whole family, between her kids and her grandkids, and who's doing what. It's just building that connection, but then also being able to. It's honestly just an ongoing flow. It's not awkward. It's not uncomfortable. The conversation is, picks up, and it actually intensifies, and it builds that bond, and it was amazing.
Oh, absolutely. So let me ask you a question, Becky, because I went last year, and so this was my second Hack Your Health, but this was your first. So what, upon entering, right, the Palmer Center, what did
I was at first, I went in with kind of no expectations, right? I didn't know what to expect because I've been to a few other conferences or a few other events, but I had no idea, even, KetoCon, which is what it was formerly, Hack Your Health, what to expect inside. I felt it was put on and it was a breeze, right? There wasn't a struggle getting signed in. There wasn't a struggle finding where you were going. There wasn't, any of that. It was all very well identified, right? You knew where the breakout rooms were. You knew how to get there. You knew, I mean, I said, other than, I don't know how many times several of us were like, "Where are you?"
texting,
because there were so many exhibitors. Like, again, I know some were saying that there were less this year than what there had been in the previous years. Again, I didn't know what to expect. So I kind of found those ones that, I kind of frequented, or, often, like my hydrogen water, right? I would go and fill up my Beyond Nutrition cup, and with the hydrogen water. And then I brought my little Echo Go too, but so I kind of, made my path and knew where that booth was, right? There were a few others like Robert Sykes, which we're going to end up and have on, right? The Keto Savage. I'd pass by there and grab me, a couple keto bricks or chunks of keto brick. Yeah, there were a few. The one dear gal that I really wanted to meet in person and thank her for the interview that we did, which I know she was super busy, was Robin. Didn't have a chance to even say hello to her. But there were so many friends and other influencers, other presenters that I was able to meet. I know, like I said, the one friend that I've had for years reached out, and I met her at the front door. And it wasn't like, I know one of our community members jokes in regards of, will you even recognize me? And those that we've had that connection with, we've had that bond, that bond with, there was
Yeah.
no hesitation about recognizing. But then there
No.
are others that, maybe aren't as sociable. They kind of sit and lurk in the background. And that would be the biggest thing. I know we're streaming over on Instagram too. But if you're following on YouTube or you're following on Instagram, don't shy away. Interact, because I passed so many people in the event that it's like, I think I know that person, but there's,
Yeah.
they would sit in the background. We went to a couple events, and like I said, the one friend, she come with us, right? We went out to eat and she come with us. So that was cool. But just the whole event, I mean, I was more, I would say, kind of on the game of being on point as far as speaking and talking. I supported, a couple of my friends, Dr. Paul with the hydrogen water. I even pushed my plane pretty close leaving Sunday to stay for his presentation. My friend Danielle Hamilton did the circadian rhythm presentation. Blood sugar presentation is actually what it was. Ben,
we
so many.
both attended that one with Danielle Hamilton, and it was good information, but we Becky and I both agree that these are the things we teach inside the BNC community. Everything she touched on, we go deep. We go much deeper into the community. Jokingly, I told Becky she probably could have done that as well. But the thing is we supported Danielle Hamilton on that. And it looked like it was, well, I mean, it was a packed room for sure. Let's see. I grabbed the so we could kind of what we attended to talk about. My husband and I actually went to the regenerative agriculture panel. Interesting. One of the panelists on there was Michael Coomer, who we've also had on here. He is the MK supplements guy. So it was interesting. He does homesteading and the regenerative agriculture. And so for my husband and I, we just purchased a large amount of property in which we're going to do the same thing too. So it was neat to be able to connect up with them. And then what I found too is how approachable a lot of like the panelists were very approachable. We were able to afterwards talk. The one gentleman, Weldon Warren, he's with Holy Cow. And I think him and my husband stood and talked for over an hour. I finally was like, I'll be back. And I wandered off because they were still talking. So that was good. Did you go to the Judy Cohen one or no? No. And then there was, I'm looking down the schedule here. Oh, I know, because you had a luncheon you had to go to on Friday. So you missed a couple of those things. Let's see. Spent a lot of time. Oh, did you go to James Berry's?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, I did. And I actually bought his products.
I did too. So James Berry, Chef Barry is the founder of Plunk. And Plunk is organ powder-ish. Is that what you would call it? Yeah.
It's basically freeze-dried organs that are.
Yeah.
Plunk is a freeze-dried organ-based seasoning. I don't call it a salt because it is more organs than it is salt. That was it's not another salt, seasoning salt. It is a flavor that has salt, right? But you would never know that the organs are in there. I mean, I used his garlic one on chicken the other day. I made chicken thighs or leg quarters, and I used it. Very good.
Yeah. So he ended up actually, Chef Barry, after that, he was telling us in that in his room that I think it was on Saturday he was going to actually be doing a cooking demo, and basically you could try raw liver. And I've seen it out there. I've been around it. I've seen people eat raw liver. I've seen a child eat raw liver, and you think, I grew up in the liver and onion days, stunk the house up, don't eat organ meat, nothing. And I attended that, and they passed around raw liver with toothpicks in them. But they were froze. It was frozen. And he said, that's the way to eat it. So I did take a video of it, of me eating raw liver. It absolutely had no taste, hardly at all. It was kind of anticlimactic. Like, is this what I've been kicking and screaming about that I didn't like? Now, there was a texture to it. It still wasn't horrible. And then he went ahead and he made he did the liver. What's the other organ?
Tongue. I know he made cooked tongue.
Yeah, he cooked tongue and then put toothpicks in it and passed it around. Shockingly, my husband and I both said it kind of tasted like roast beef. It was actually good. And then he made a pate with the liver and the tongue, and passed around a little spoon thing, and we took and oh my goodness, that was outstanding as well. So it was really shocking, because most people are poo-poo with organ meat. Because I've never cooked it, I've never done anything. I don't know per se that I'm going to run right out and buy like frozen raw liver and eat it. But what I will do is take the MK supplements, liver and heart and spleen and that kind of stuff. And then you do the freeze dried.
Yeah, I have Grassland Nutrition's heart, liver, and kidney that I kind of do muscle testing with it, right? If my body is craving it. So it's not something that I eat every day or, every meal or anything like that. But if my body is craving it, if I feel like I'm needing that, nutrient density, then I will grab like a handful of, I call it my snack mix. I'll grab it. But yeah, I see the comment from Melina. Tongue is delicious. I love tongue. My family all think I'm weird because, I'll cook it up. But yeah, it's really delicious. I would honestly rather have tongue, and especially even leftover tongue, than roast beef. To me, roast beef gets dry. The tongue has enough, fat and moisture to it that it doesn't get dry.
Yeah, that surprised me. I know my husband and I, we attended Zane Griggs' Building Muscle After 40. And again, we've got 2 coaches in the BNC community that specifically talk to, exercising, Coach Craig, not my husband. We have a Coach Craig. He's a bodybuilder basically, and he does it on a high fat, adequate protein diet. And he talks to that and he coaches people through that. But we have that meeting as well.
Yeah. And then we end up with Coach James also that's in there, doing kind of the, the importance of the different macros in what we're doing. Karen's giving you some
she's making
faces with the liver, but yeah, we have James that's doing, the how to utilize the different macros around and the kind of the science behind, and he'll jump into different meanings also. But that just goes to show, the Beyond Nutrition community isn't just about keto. It isn't about carnivore. I said that on a meeting earlier today in regards of being able to utilize whatever works for the individual, not necessarily making it another, this is the only way to do it. Or you must do this, you must, putting protocols or rules out there that everyone has to follow. And so, yeah, I like that. But, and again, kind of going back to the addiction, I sat in on the food addiction panel, and that was very interesting. And, with Robert Sykes and Joan Iflin, Mary Roberts was there. Megan had stopped drinking.
And Judy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Mike Collins. Was he in there? Mm-mm. No.
Robert was the man.
Yeah, Robert Sykes. So what did you think of that food addiction panel?
I thought they were kind of many topics that were brought up were kind of on point, needed to be specified, needed to be, shouted out there for the public to hear. And then there were a few that I thought were more based on kind of their opinion, if you will. But I do feel like there were a few things that needed to be put out there and labeled for what it was. Mm-hmm. Because there's a lot of verbal jarble, I guess is what I will call it. Depending on what a person is doing, depending what they want to label it, and being able to essentially call it for what it is. And I thought there were points where they really hit that on the head.
They did. I actually wrote down like a couple of notes as they were talking, and one of them said, and write this down, what did I learn from that binge that you just went on? It's very taboo for food addiction. It's starting to come out more. There's somebody, I think it was Dr. Jones, said the fear of the famine brain. If you remember that, Becky, where you eat really fast and then you go and hide because you feel shame, or you go and have you fast after you do that as a punishment. And that's not really the way it's done, but I think we both see it with our clients, some clients with food addiction, but they have purposely, scientists have figured out that ultra processed foods are, they know it's addicting.
Yep, highly palatable. And So when
Yeah.
you have the fat and you have the sugar, right, you're hitting bliss points that create a addiction, and
Yeah.
it keeps you going back for more, right? So there's different aspects of what we crave in food, whether it be the sweet, the salty, but typically once you get past the first few bites, it's just that addiction side that keeps you eating. You're not actually tasting the food. You're not
Yep.
um recognizing necessarily what you're consuming. The body is seeking that flavor profile, if you want to call it that, and it's trying to get the nutrition from what you're consuming. And many of those foods don't have the nutrition.
No, no. And well, and literally the food chemist um actually know how to create these ultra processed foods, causing that, like that dopamine, that hit. It is literally like taking a drug. I mean, you're getting that same kind of brain hit, that, and that's why you can't stop. The Lay's potato chips, or what is it? Like, you can't just eat one. Well,
Yeah.
they aren't lying, right? Because it's hitting that bliss uh point, that dopamine release, and it's literally, it can be as addicting as cigarettes and cocaine, and people don't realize that. But I know some of my clients where it's like, but I can't stop. This
Hmm.
is what you too, I know you have too.
Yeah. And that's where the mindless eating, right? It's no longer they're not choosing the food. The addiction is choosing them.
Yeah.
And they're just eating. It's more of that mindless, right? They start to lose that present ability of the body, and it's just literally out of habit. And many times you get lost in it. You don't
Yeah.
slow down to eat. People are eating in front of a TV. They're eating, on the go, and they also lose sight of that hunger signal too, or satiety signal, and that's where we start to get size and volume, right? Is the
Yeah.
supersize meals. And because how many people go through a drive-through and they get the supersized fries, and they continue eating on them, or their soft drink, or whatever they may end up and get. And that's why, is
Yeah.
because we're multitasking. We are such a society now that we have to always be on the go, instead of sitting down, taking a few deep breaths, eating our meal, eating nutritious food, right?
Yep.
Not just what can I grab. Not to say that it can't be used in a pinch, right? I've traveled, I've ate
Absolutely.
out, but
Yeah.
most of my meals are at home.
Yeah. Definitely that. One of the things, and we actually talk about this in the BNC community, is your non-negotiables, right?
Mhm.
But also what triggers you. They said write a list of those foods that trigger you. And those are no go. You get them out of your house, you don't buy them, and you don't start with that first bite. Um, I had that happen to me in December when I went to my girlfriend's cookie bake, and I did great. I mean, we made the dough. The next day we baked all day, and then the last day we put them out on trays and took pictures, and then we started to box them up to give away. And I had decided I was going to have a sugar cookie, and I couldn't stop. And I had a lot of sugar cookies. Um, I know now that would be on my food list that I can't have. So, but then there's other times where I've had a bite of my husband's tres leches cake, which is um, a three milk cake, very popular here in Texas, and took a bite of it. I think it was Easter, and
Mhm.
I almost couldn't swallow it because it was so incredibly rich, and it did the opposite of me wanting more. So, but know your triggers, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And then we wrapped it up on Sunday, which you had to leave. But we
Okay.
did go to Dr. Eric Burke's prolonged fasting, a balanced perspective, who should embrace and who should avoid. He talked about dry fasting, didn't he?
He spoke a lot about dry fasting, which was an interesting perspective because, you know, we have a coach in the community that does it himself, right? We don't necessarily coach it, but when we look at the different types of fasting, like you and I will do, you know, fat fasting coupled with water fasting. But when you look at the dry fast and the body's ability to make that metabolic water, to push you through kind of a dry fast, he had a lot of good information. I think it definitely provided a perspective for people that maybe, you know, might look at it as, well, that's kind of extreme. I'm not doing that, right?
Right.
I don't know that, other than, I guess, if you want to call it intermittent dry fasting, I will, because like you just said, one of my non-negotiables is I get up and I have my hydrogen water, I have my Shilajit, to replenish minerals, and that's kind of how my morning starts. So I don't know if, you know, pushing that, and also from a circadian and hormone side, I know how important breakfast is. Whether it's on my fat fast days and I'm eating more of a predominant fat breakfast, I know how important that first signal is to be chewing and having breakfast. So I don't dry fast through breakfast, because then you're not having anything. Now, sure, there's um, diagnoses that may warrant something to that point, but it's not something that I am concerned with.
Well, and yeah. And then we went on to Dr. Paul, and you actually live streamed it. And it's still on your Instagram, correct? So if you're curious, you can go to I am Becky Niles on Instagram, and you can actually watch Dr. Paul's, let's see, what did he call it? Healthier with Hydrogen Water.
Yeah.
Very informative. Of course, Becky and I knew already, we already utilized the hydrogen water. What I found interesting was my husband, because Dr. Paul backed it up with studies. And if you are that type of person where you want to see, like, I want to see the studies, I want to see what it does. Oh, he had it in that presentation. So go out and watch the one that Becky did a live stream on. It was neat, but it was neat, the conversations with some of our other BNC community people that were there. In fact, they went and purchased hydrogen water bottles. It was overall, it was really a good it was a good time. We Becky and I did more networking. I was hoofing it around trying to get more guests to come on. So was Becky. So we've got several of those still in the works that we want to have. That's why we're just now, a couple weeks later, getting to the topic of a recap of the Hack Your Health and the BNC meetup, because we had two guests on back to back, and we're very happy they were. But at the same time, Becky and I were like, oh, we wanted to talk about it. And it's like, I said today, let's do it today. So that's kind of our.
Which, I mean, to meet Jessica and also meet Tiffany, again, I knew Tiffany for quite a while, right? Her and I, or us, right? We definitely align on the practices that we're teaching and, that kind of thing. But we followed each other for years. And so then when we met in person, it's like, we gotta end up and have a conversation. And then you knew Jessica, which was the one that we did right when we got back.
June 3rd. Yep.
So
yeah, I met her last year and followed her progress for a whole year. And just watching her put things into practice, that was neat. I met, let's see, Dr. Amy Horniman. Who else did we meet?
As far as the presenters go, I mean,
yeah, just whomever. Oh, the founder of Salty.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna reach out and try to get him to come on. Go ahead. No.
I met the team with Juve Science, which is Juven Science, which is the cognitive switch. It is a ketone, and I'm kind of playing around with, their product as far as fasting goes, and ketosis goes. They were like on one corner and the hydrogen team was over on the other corner, and I was like in between the two, right? But it is one that I'm also working on and have got an affiliate code with to bring that to the community. So be watching for over on my Instagram for that stuff to come out, because like I said, I'll be doing some testing and experimenting with it as I go into a fast later this week.
Yeah. And then I tried the Good Ideas. They had those. And so I got to try actually still have some of them in my refrigerator. I still haven't tried all of them. But they were so sweet. They're like, here, take some to go. And so I brought them, and I haven't tried all the flavors yet, but Good Idea is basically it's let's see. Good Ideas patent formula supports metabolism by reducing blood sugar by an average of 25% when consumed with a meal. It has 5 essential amino acids, chromium, PIC, OLINATE. That. Picolinate. Does that sound right? Anyway, it was nice because I wanted to try that. I never wanted to order it and not like it, right? So I think that was another fun thing, that there were samples and you could try people's products. And in fact, you bought olive oil.
I did. A company had pure high polyphenol olive oil, and that's again another thing that I will be doing. I have several things in the works as far as what I'm going to be doing kind of as part of this reset, reboot, refocus that we're doing in the BNC community, which we'll go into in a minute. But yeah, I did end up and get that olive oil, of course. Flying down and purchasing a bottle of olive oil, I'm like, don't know how I'm gonna get this back. And it was like, a light bulb went on what would have been Sunday morning, because I'm like, I'm supposed to fly home. And they shipped it. Jason with the company is amazing. I had great success with that. So again, that'll be coming out on my Instagram too, because they also had really good olives. But that company, I mean, there were several that
Yeah.
were just, well, and not only companies, but also Dr. Ellie was working with another booth that was there. And that was the first time that you and I both, I mean, Dr. Ellie helped you get off your diabetes medication over virtual meetings. You've never met him
16
until Hack Your Health.
Yeah. 16 weeks we did video every Friday, him and I, and that was the first time I got to meet him in person. It was actually cute because he was talking to somebody. So I was kind of standing back and he kind of glanced up, didn't pay attention. And the next thing I know, it registered on him and he looked up again and he goes, "Oh my goodness, Sherry." And it was so funny. So the lady excused herself. And so I actually got to meet the doctor that was responsible for helping me get off my type 2 diabetes medicine. He did reinforce the fact that I was one of his most stubborn patients. And I don't mean it in I wouldn't do what he was saying. It was my body was very resistant to everything he would have me do. And he said, he reinforced that for me. It was like, great. So I'm short and my body is stubborn. So, but that's the journey, right? We're all on a different journey. It wasn't till the next weekend that I had kind of a meltdown. Don't particularly care for how I'm still on this journey and I'm still having and I'm still this and I'm still that, right? And I kind of put it out on social media and asked people if they thought that their body dysmorphia, because I still think in my mind I am that 275-pound person. I am not. I do side-by-side photos. I am not. My brain thinks I really am. And in talking to Becky about it, Becky and I came up with the reboot. So I'll let you kind of go into what we're doing and inside the community as well.
Yes. So many times, no matter how much we focus on our non-negotiables, no matter how much we are, strict with what we're doing, we kind of get into that little gray area, right? Where we can kind of lose our way sometimes, or life throws us a curveball and we're, ducking and swerving, right? So really, we just kind of need to get back on our path, reboot, refocus, and reset what we're doing. Sometimes it may even be from within, and you really have to dig deep to that within, and look, because sometimes we can, be our own worst sabotager, or just really sometimes we need to kick our own butt out of our way, and continue, right? So that's where we come up with the BNC, reboot, reset, refocus. And it's just nice to be able to get back on, no matter what your goals are, no matter what your journey is, but to know that, hey, I could do this, right? I have team, I have accountability, I have people that are in my corner that are going to help hold me accountable. We're going to use many of the same foundational modalities to reboot our health, right? Whether it be the sun, whether it be grounding, whether it be weight resistant, whether weight resistant lifting, or whether it be digging deep, right? Journaling, meditation, breath work, the 90 breath work program that we end up when we do, it can make you go deep. Learning how to utilize breath work to kind of calm the body. Many of us are in that cortisol, go. So really to kind of bring the body back. Simple movement also, right? You and I both have gotten back into intentional movement and just getting out, moving, even if it's, just a few steps, or maybe it's a mile. Just making sure that you're able to get that in.
Yep. So I actually started last week. I She calls me an overachiever. But it was more as just getting my macros back under control, right? That's all I did. Now, today, Becky and I did fat fasting. There were several others in our community that also did fat fasting with us. I actually started mine at, I think it was about 1 o'clock yesterday after I ate. Very interesting because we went to a Brazilian steakhouse yesterday. I ate some meat and I think it was like 10, 11 o'clock. And I said to you, I'm not hungry at all. And what did you tell me?
That is why it is just as important to eat on your eating day as it is to fast on your fasting day, because you don't want to get into this, well, I'm not hungry, or my body is eating the fat cells, right? And then not eat, because you can start to undereat and start to downregulate things. So be intentional. If you are going to do fasting days, do your fast, but then you and I will both eat Tuesday, Wednesday. And then we got a full moon coming up the end of the week. So I'll do a longer fast again just this week, right? I don't do it every week, but around the full moon, I do a little bit of a fast. So I'll be doing that, or many of us will be doing that the end of the week. It's optional. It's not a requirement, but.
And feel free to do a reboot, refocus with us, even if you're not in the BNC community. If it means getting out and walking, that's it. If that's what your reboot needs to be, then that's good. I'm stacking mine. I am getting out for the sunrise and walking at the same time. So that way I'm getting ahead of the heat of the day, where it was in the 90s today. So that way I'm not out in that heat trying to, do my intentional walking. I'm hitting it in the morning where it's a little bit better, you got out and walked today too.
I did. I was able to get that mile in. I told myself that I was either going to go 20 minutes or mile, whichever come first, because I've got, like I said, gotten into that gray area, right? I had the cruise, I had the Austin trip, I had a few other things in between there, and I just simply got out of the habit. That's one of the things that I'm very active in my day, but the intentional of, this is my time that I'm doing my kettlebell, or this is the time I'm doing walking, or my step workout, whatever I'm doing, being intentional in that movement. I've always done kind of the Savers program. I don't know if anyone knows what the Savers program is, but it does stack a lot of these, things that we work on, but in a order. It kind of identifies them, or gives them a label, if you will. And so I've always done those. The E in that is exercise. So whether it's, walking and chasing kids, or being intentional with movement, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I have the kids, I'll end up and I'll, play with them, or, just kind of do that thing. And so I'm not necessarily always intentional about setting that time aside. But that is part of this, and I am getting back to it, even if I have to get up, and like you said, do it at sunrise. I can put I am in silence. I'm listening to the birds. I don't have, ear pods or anything like that I use in the morning, or use, I should say. And I don't even connect, my old school headphones, right? I go out, I have my phone with me, more so to track my steps and stuff, and my little map that I posted. But yeah, that's pretty much kind of what I do in the morning and how I kind of structure it. But if morning doesn't work for you, maybe you're a high cortisol person, and obviously you heard me say a mile and 20 minutes, right? So it is a leisurely walk. I'm just out there being present, kind of walking around. I'm not walking no walking or running a 7-minute mile or anything, right?
Right.
It's a leisurely walk. So it's not over strenuous either first thing in the morning because of the cortisol, but it is movement.
Yeah. Yep. And that's exactly what I'm doing too. Not running any races. I'm just getting out there and I am intentionally walking just to get the movement in. I'm living in a camper. I am getting, on most days, I'm lucky to get 900 to 1,000 steps. That's it. So it was it was kind of becoming an issue actually. And so that's why I'm out just intentionally, just doing my leisurely walk. Where that takes me, okay, I'm okay with that. But yeah, so next year, KetoCon, Hack Your Health, is going to be in Tampa, Florida. My husband and I are actually from Tampa, Florida, or we live there. Our children are still there in the area. So I'm all excited. I get to go home for Hack Your Health, but we're planning another meetup.
We are. Yep. We don't necessarily know the dates yet, but it will be. We are looking at doing an annual meetup. So we will follow kind of the Hack Your Health. Again, if you are listening to either us on YouTube or Facebook, Instagram, any of those, you follow us, you want to be part of the community. It is the BNC meetup is just for BNC members. So that's kind of what we did this last year. We didn't open it, or this year, we didn't open it to the public. It was just members, and we had an amazing time. So yeah, definitely, join us. I look forward to meeting even more people in Tampa, right? We've already kind of looked at places. We've looked at kind of what we're, doing. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yep, definitely. So, anyway, it was definitely worth going, I think. Especially, there were people walking around that you knew they were just getting started on their journey and they were seeking out information. And then there were seasoned people there and everything in between. You had your hardcore carnivores, you had your ketos, you had people that did whole foods, paleo. So it was neat because everybody was welcoming to your journey. And we emphasize that today in our community, our BNC community, about not being so dogmatic in a certain way of eating, but rather embracing your journey individually. We never want to get to that point. We don't want, we've both been in groups, seen groups where, if somebody has a vegetable, people are having meltdowns. Every journey is different, right?
Yep. And that's where I want everyone to feel welcome, right? Not excluding or feel like they, can't be open, can't be vulnerable. They, feel guilty or shameful if, they come and they're honest, right? I want that approachability of being able to be honest and, continuing on. But yeah, join us, right? Whether it's in the meetings or come up to us and say hi. Like I said, comment if you're on YouTube now, comment in the chat that if you were there. I feel bad. There were so many people that it's just there wasn't enough time in the day, right? We had people from Australia even that is a BNC member, it was just so fun because you have people from all over the world. And again, there's just not enough time in the day. I mean, I got down there Thursday, so we went out Thursday night for supper. I mean, yeah, it was just nice to also see people outside of the conference and, kind of doing their thing and meeting them real life, right? Not in work mode, just in everyday, personality, and being able to connect. It was cool.
It was cool. I think friendships were definitely formed. It made us, I have to say, there's a family feel with the people that we actually met, the BNC members and everything. It's kind of funny how it's like, oh, I know you now. Like I've seen you. I've sat down and had meat with you. So I eat meat, but yeah. So
yeah.
It was fun.
Definitely if you want to join us, bnccommunity.com. Feel free to jump on over there, join us, and continue the conversation, because I've got a meeting yet tonight that I got to get over there and do. So,
yep. All right.
Awesome. Any final words, my dear?
Nope. Again, I'm going to remind everybody to go ahead and comment, subscribe, like. If you have suggestions on maybe people we could come on and have a conversation with, let us know. Every little bit helps us, and it also helps to know that people are out there watching and are liking at least our topics and our guests and so forth. But Becky, as always, this is always a fun time getting on and doing our YouTube. We've been at it over a year now.
We have. I know, it's crazy. Time just flies. And who would have thought, two people that were like, yeah, I want to end up and start a podcast. I want to just be real and be that average person that, goes on YouTube and speaks about their journey and maybe bring on a person or two, right? Would ever have evolved to what we've done today. And again, we're just real people, right? We don't end up and have all the fancy filming mumble jumble, right? It's just us.
Yeah.
So this is
my lighting, no lighting, no makeup.
Right. But this is what you get, and this is what you will see when you meet us in person too. So with that being said, everyone, have a wonderful night. Tune in next Monday and keep an eye out as guests schedule.
Absolutely.